Hey YouTube, Joeboy here. So, the officially translated One Piece chapter is out on Viz.com as well as Manga Plus. I think that this is just a great week to remind you guys that if you do read the scans and you read the fan translations in English, that you should also be reading simultaneously the official translation. It's really not all that expensive, and on Manga Plus, where it is available in most every country, it is actually free. I've had a chance to read the official translation this week and compared it to the fan translation in English, and frankly, the fan translation was kind of garbage. Obviously, it got the gist of the chapter, but there were several points in which it wasn't very clear and or totally misrepresented what we should be taking from this chapter. So yeah, do yourself a favor, even if you read the fan translation, read the official. If you like speculating and parsing through dialogue, again, read the official. So let's start off with the most important difference, and here's the fan translation. Who's Who says this: if Queen were to die suddenly, who'd be up next in your opinion? And then Black Maria says, wouldn't it be you, right? To which X-Drake says, nah, I'm not interested. So most people took this to imply that Black Maria was talking directly to X-Drake. Wouldn't it be you? And X-Drake says, nah, as if, she's asking him directly, assuming him to be the next in line, the most powerful Flying Six next to become a calamity. But the official debunks this. But if Queen were to die, say tonight, who would be the next lead performer, you think? And then in this case, Black Maria says, I'm guessing you think it's yourself. And then X-Drake comments, not as though Black Maria is talking directly to him, I have no interest. So he's actually replying to Who's Who's original question. It's clear here Black Maria was talking about Who's Who brought up the question of who's the next to be the lead performer, not X-Drake, and the overall tone is sort of sarcastic and condescending, so the official actually doesn't give you a really good idea of who is the strongest member of the Flying Six, who really is next in line, which makes sense because even they don't know Who's Who asked this question, so at this point I think that they should all be viewed roughly as equals, except for page 1. But with that being said, I do think Who's Who is probably the strongest. Next, the fan translation gave us this. Kaido's mansion is at the very bottom. It is a greater distance than we expected. People took this to mean that Kaido's mansion was below the skull, in some kind of dungeon, tower thing, and the strats would need to, clear levels to reach the bottom because it's much bigger than we thought it would be. But the official goes back to what we knew previously. Kaido's castle is all the way in the back, right? So yeah, Kaido's castle is in the back, not the bottom. Moving on, here's a bad one. Ulti calls page 1 Grandpa in the fan translation. So fragile, what are you, my grandpa heart? Grandpa, shut up. And there's really no clear connection between Ulti and page 1 in the fan translation. But in the official, it's pretty obviously implied or hinted that they are actually siblings. Ulti gives page 1 a cutesy name and is very defensive of him. And he calls her sis, and they even share this sort of black-white alternating theme. And sort of related to this, I just feel like the official was so much clearer as to what's going on than the fan translation. We see Sasaki say, it's very urgent, finally an important demand from Kaido, and then Ulti says this, Tsk. Yeah, I made the sound effect, deal with it. Isn't this a family matter? Is Kaido dumb or what? But the official translated it like this. They said it's urgent, but when Kaido says urgent in quotations, it usually means one thing. Ulti says another family issue, then is Kaido stupid or something? So it pretty clearly implies that the reason why the Flying Six are grouped together where they are, they've been ordered, is because of Kaido's son. Urgent requests from Kaido typically mean one thing. It's related to a family matter. I also thought that the official developed Ulti's character a little better, made it a bit clear, where she's the kind of character who will snap at people. And so when she calls Kaido stupid, she was snapping at Kaido, and to which everyone responded, well, let's not go that far. Please, we don't want to die today. So that was that interaction. And the last important thing that I feel like I need to bring up, just because it might cause confusion, the fan translation introduced a completely new beast pirate division called the Shinuchi, which is just headliners, man. But yeah, let's fill this video out a little bit. Let's talk about the chapter some more and bring up some comments that I got from you guys. So I think one of the questions that we have after this chapter is, let's understand the hierarchy of Kaido's crew. And to begin with, some people seem confused about the gifters, or at least I got a question about it on Twitter. So gifters are just people who've consumed Smile and gotten powers from them. That doesn't necessarily mean that they are in a position of power. Even though it is often the case that those who are gifters are also headliners, who would be like your lowest level of leader within the Kaido's crew. I think at this point there legitimately appears to be drawn several dozens of headliners, and I think we can presume there's probably hundreds of them. They're literally everywhere, and just because you're a headliner doesn't make you equal to all of the other headliners, because we know for a fact that the Flying Six, they are also headliners, but they are the top of the top, the closest group of people to becoming a step above a headliner, which is a calamity. So I presume this is the way that it works. Kaido has a set number of people that he wants to become calamities, and if Jack, Queen, or King were to fall in battle, were to die or fail spectacularly, then one of the Flying Six would become your next calamity. I assume Jack would move up to the rank of Queen, and then one of the Flying Six would take the rank of Jack. Assuming in this case, as was speculated in the chapter, Queen were the one to die. And this seems to be a very complicated thing. This is a bit of speculation, but I just wonder, is it normal for the Flying Six to perhaps challenge the calamities? And or maybe challenge each other? Maybe the way Kaido organizes his crew is that the strongest, or the ones with the most feats, actually get advanced. So if you're looking to become, achieve a higher rank in Kaido's crew, you gotta do more crazy stuff. You gotta fight more people, and in general, I guess just catch Kaido's eye. This, I think, would add a really interesting, competitive vibe to Kaido's crew, where not only are they fighting against their enemies, but they're also, in some way, fighting against each other. And, this is just something that I think makes a little bit of sense to me, because Kaido was a former member of the Rocks Pirates, and what are the Rocks Pirates known for? They're known for killing members, their own members killing other members of their crew. So maybe that's the thing, and why the Flying Six and Who's Who brought up the idea of Queen dying in this chapter. But the one entity where we don't know exactly how they fit in with the rest of Kaido's crew is the numbers. So I've got a comment here. The fact that the Flying Six are shown revealed before the numbers, doesn't that imply that the numbers are technically stronger than the Flying Six to begin with in terms of hierarchy? And that's why Oda is going to reveal them later, because they're stronger? I mean, that could totally be the case, right? So we're looking at this from a point of hierarchy. Who's next in line to become a figure of authority within Kaido's crew? However, this does not mean that the numbers are not stronger. It just means that Kaido's not looking at them to become potential authority figures. At least not in the same way, or there's a very clear division between a calamity and a number. I've seen some people say, and I'm kind of inclined to the thought, that the numbers may be more beast, monster, than they are, crew members. Another thing worth considering is that all the numbers that we have seen, I think that we've seen the vast majority of them, they are all huge. The size of giants at the very least. And it's stated that their home is in Onigashima, which is built for very, very large people. So maybe in order to be a number, you have to be a giant. Or similarly, a member of say, like Orz's clan, a continent pooler type creature. So the numbers just may be their very own thing. And so if you were a Flying Six, you would never become a number because you're not giant. So if you were to promote, you would promote straight to Calamity, and if you were a giant, then maybe you would occupy one of the numbers. So it'd be kind of like the difference between being a member of Cypherpole and being a member of the Marines. Yeah, they're both part of the government, but they are not the same organization. You can promote within Cypherpole, and you can promote within the Marines. It's two different things. You don't go from Vice Admiral to Cypherpole to Admiral. You go from Vice Admiral to Admiral, and within Cypherpole, it's a completely different thing. Another comment. Headliners are subdivided into three special categories, I think. Monsters, true zone type Devil Fruit headliners, or that of Hawkins, those who are not beast related. Numbers are giant headliners, and Flying Six are the top 6 headliners next to the Calamities. So here he's labeled monsters as a different organization, but reading the official translation, I get more of the impression that the numbers are the monsters. Queen's like, where are my monsters at? Numbers. So it's like the same group, further confirming that the numbers are all monsters. And simultaneously giving credence to the idea that the Flying Six are next in line to become Calamities because the numbers are all monsters and not really fitting for roles of authority within Kaido's crew. They're beasts to be unleashed. But also related to this, in a way that I can't fully justify as of right now, what's the deal with Appu? Where does Appu rank in all of this? Is Appu like ace or a wild card? He's clearly not a member of the Flying Six. I mean, he's also not a calamity as far as we know, and if we're assuming all of the numbers are all monsters and giants, Appu is neither that either. So Appu occupies also a very strange place within Kaido's crew. But he's clearly very important. Maybe his powers are just used to control the numbers? I'm curious as to what you guys think. And I just gotta be honest, guys, I also found it incredibly interesting, sort of the task that Kaido set for Appu, because we assume that all along, from the very beginning, Appu was a member of Kaido's crew, even as he posed as his own sort of, as a captain on his own. So what exactly was Kaido's intentions here? What was Appu's mission? Another comment, I got the feeling that Kaido's son is the ace among the numbers group. I gotta be honest, guys, I kind of like this theory, even though ace isn't a number. Ace also represents the number 1. So maybe the number 1 of the numbers is like the strongest. There's also a lot of speculation about, what Kaido actually is, his origins. So could his son potentially be a giant, be a monster? It doesn't seem, unrealistic to me. For the longest time, we have speculated that it's possible that Kaido is not an Oni-like creature, is in fact a dragon who ate an Oni-related devil fruit, and so if Kaido actually had a son, and he is in fact a dragon, then his son would be a dragon, right? And so would a dragon qualify as a monster? I would think so. And then Kaido is part human because of the devil fruit that he ate, similar to Chopper, which would make Kaido's son more beast even than himself. One thing here worth pointing out is that when Queen calls for the numbers in the chapter, we can see the numbers respond, and they make sounds or laughter that has specific numbers within them, but we do not see the number 1. And that would make sense with the fact that Kaido's son is missing. So I definitely see potential here. The next comment, family matter. Kaido's son and a daughter of Big Mom are set to be married, sealing their alliance. Yeah, I mean, that's how Big Mom conducts alliances, right? She marries her children with whatever group, and then... So, I mean, should we see that? Yeah, absolutely. This is another theory that I think just makes a ton of sense. Unless, of course, Kaido's son is an actual beast. Next comment. When I saw Black Maria, I thought about the snake, the Black Mamba. And seeing how she was sitting like she didn't have legs, I kind of expect her to be like a giant lamia. Yeah, this could totally be the case. Obviously, I think that we're making assumptions about devil fruits that don't necessarily have to be the case, right? Like, Oda can do almost essentially anything at this point in time if he really wants to. But what I want to point out about Black Maria that I don't see a lot of people talking about, she is huge. She's like a Shirahoshi-sized person. And I could totally see her lower body, which we don't see in the panel, not being human. But I would say that my personal belief at this point in time is Black Maria is a spider, has a spider-related devil fruit, and her lower body, if we don't see it and it is something else, being that of an arachnid. So in this case, representing the Japanese mythological creature, Jorogumo. Next comment, do you think Who's Who was the guy that appeared in Punk Hazard? Remember the brokers that were viewing Caesar's new weapon, Smiley? We got several people in silhouettes, one of which looks a whole lot like Who's Who, and yeah, I'm all for that theory. I actually got several comments about this, but I feel like it's worth throwing out there. I don't actually have an answer for this, but where's Caribou? A low-key theory, right, is that at the end of the chapter, we know that Kaido is freaking out, that Kaido says it's urgent, right? And we assume that this has to do with his son because that's what Oda led us to believe from the last chapter when Kaido was looking for his son. And they were like, well, it has to be a family matter, right? Well, how often do people are people actually attacking Onigashima? That would never happen. So the Flying Six would never assume that unless they were prepped beforehand. So it could be that Kaido is aware of the Alliance's movements, and Orochi is not. Maybe Kaido has somebody on the inside, a traitor within the Alliance who has not revealed their identity yet. In this case, somebody like Caribou would be interesting. It would fit. Caribou is just the kind of character that would do something like this in order to, seek his own advantage. So in this case, Caribou being missing or not emphasized is kind of interesting. If you were asking me whether I trust him, the answer is an emphatic hell no. And I guess we'll end it on this comment. Man, I love your videos, but you spend half the video talking about stuff not in the chapter. I thought this was a first reaction to 978, just constructive criticism. So I get this comment from time to time, and I want to make this clear, right? This is the essence of my channel. You read the chapter, I read the chapter, I'm assuming you read the chapter. I don't need to go panel for panel describing to you what we both know we already know. Right, there's some YouTubers that do that, and they do that in interesting or funny ways. It's not my MO. So when I sit down to go and make a first reaction, my goal is literally to say things that are not in the chapter. I'm expanding upon what it is that we got from the chapter. That is what my channel is all about. But at the same time, even as I'm talking about things that are not in the chapter, they're related to things that are in the chapter, and I hope that you're able to see that. And it's fine if you don't enjoy that, or if you feel lost, or you prefer some other, YouTubers' content. But at the same time, I think that it's this, which in large part makes me different from everybody else. I don't want to do what everyone else is doing. I just want to talk about what I want to talk about. The vast majority of which is speculation. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in this video. As always, I'm curious as to what you guys think. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Like the video if you liked the video, dislike the video if you disliked the video, subscribe if you want to be notified for my future content, and as always, guys, have a wonderful day.